Hello too. Many of you that visit my channel pretty regularly should by now know that I have a PowerMac G4. In particular, the PowerMac G4 Gigabit Ethernet. This is and has been quite a bit of a project machine, and I'm still doing some modifications to it every now and then. And it's never really been the system that I wanted it to be. So yeah. I wanted to have a RetroMax system that's not one of those ugly beige G3 things, because I just like the PowerPC design a lot better, like the G3 blue and white, or G4 early ones, even later G4s, but especially the G3 and the G4 early models. But I wanted this thing to have an old version of OS 10 and OS 9 dual booted, and play some old Mac games, just enjoy the overall old operating systems, for the vintageness, I suppose. I ran into a couple of issues. At first I just ran OS 10 Tiger on it with the onboard, not really onboard, the stock HDR Rage 128 Pro video card. I figured out pretty soon that a video card was really insufficient. So I upgraded it a couple of times. I flashed some PC cards, I flashed a couple of Radeon 7000 PCI cards. Those actually work quite well, but for some reason don't work anymore. Don't know why, because the clock speed on the ROM for the Mac version are actually lower than those of the Windows version, so they should not really be burnt up or anything. But they produce a very, very interesting purple image, both on VGA and the DVI ports. Then I flashed a GeForce 2 MX400 I got from my girlfriend. She was like, yeah, give it a shot, maybe it works. Worked just fine. Couldn't get the resolution working properly in an older version of OS 10 or an OS 9. So now, I actually got a GeForce 3 TI200 in it, which is a 64 megabyte card. Works like a champ. Still does not offer me the proper resolution though. And I have narrowed it down now to... rat. I shouldn't be throwing at this kind of stuff. But it all came back to macOS 10 Jaguar here, 10.2. Got these discs from my girlfriend as well. And the problem is that apparently these are only able to recognize the proper resolutions on Apple displays. And I, of course, do not have an Apple display. I have this massive LG 27-inch. This wasn't really a problem with the Radeon 7000 PCI cards, because they could display the proper 1080p resolution, but that was back in Tiger, and not in Jaguar or in OS 9. In OS 9, I can live with 1280 by 960 resolution. That's just fine. But in OS 10, it really looks very washed out, the screen flickers, so that's really not acceptable. I want the full 1080p resolution in OS 10. Now, there are ways to do this, but it requires the developer tools for OS 10 10.2 Jaguar. Those are no longer around. I can't find them anywhere. So maybe there's someone here in the audience that can actually point those out. Please do not link me to Xcode tools. I don't want Xcode. Xcode does not work on OS 10 10.28, so that does not work on Jaguar. It requires Panther. So for those of you that are trying to help, thank you, but no Xcode. They're called developer tools from I believe I need the revision of December 2002. If you can get your hands on those, please send me a link, or upload it somewhere and send me that link. Because that way I can modify some files to actually recognize the monitor and set the proper refresh rates and resolution. That way I can actually run this thing as the system that I intended it for in the first place. Anyhow, this is the RAM right here. So I'm just going to get a little overview right here and what I'm going to do with it next. So the RAM has already been upgraded a couple of times. Now has a little bit more than a gig. I believe this is a 512 module. These are 256s, I believe. This is a 128. So I've got 1.12 or 1.13 gigabytes of RAM in here. This is the RAM PC133. This is the CPU heatsink. Has two 450 MHz CPUs on there. This is the GeForce 3 TI200, 64 megabytes of VRAM. Pretty nice card so far. Gonna have to see how that performs. There are no hard drives in it currently because they are right here. It's always you know, a bit tough to pick the right hard drives for these. For now, I've got a 30 gigabyte Mac store on top. It's going to be OS 9 dedicated disk, and underneath it is a 120 gigabyte Hitachi drive that I showed in an earlier video that I got in a bag of free stuff. I always used to run an 80 gig Seagate that's in my Pentium 4 computer over there with some stuff on it. So yeah, but you know, that was a really quick drive, but it was kind of a waste using an ATA 133 disk with that kind of speed in a system that can only run ATA 66. So that's another upgrade that I will probably do in the future when I have some money knocking around to actually get a PCI IDE card for IDE 133. Should be quicker than the ATA 66 that's currently on board, and it only has one IDE port. So yeah, it's kind of pushing it. But then again, this video card is really pushing the power supply as well, so it might blow up. If it blows up, then I'm going to toss it out and get a proper PowerMac with the Mac hardware. I can't find any Mac video cards, so really stuck to flashing PC cards, which does not always work. Had a couple of headaches with that. So, you know, I'm actually going to put Tiger back on to see if I can actually get a full resolution on that, because then I know it's just a software-related issue, not a hardware-related issue. So yeah, and of course put OS 9 back in there, get it all back together properly, and then I'll see if I can actually keep the system and if I actually still like it. Don't get me wrong, I really like PowerPC Max, but this system has been so much of a bitch that I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it next. My girlfriend offered me her Radeon 9000 Pro from her Quicksilver. I was like, just keep it to yourself, you know. I'm not the type of person that's going to beg people to send me their parts just so I can have a system that works properly. I guess I'm a little bit too modest for that, but you know. Okay, I don't really know what else to talk about right now, but I'm gonna make this a long video, so beware. But you should already know because I'm already talking for like more than 7.5 minutes. So I'm actually going to put in the discs, slap a copy of OS 10 on there, and then I'll take it from there. So through the magic of video editing, it will only take a couple of seconds. Well, as the PowerMac G4 is now here back in storage, I guess you figured out what happened. Well, let me put it this way. I installed OS 10 Tiger on it. It ran pretty well on the GeForce 3 that is now on top of the PowerMac. But you know, every time I'm trying to do something, the screen has to refresh, it just flickers. And it's really, you know, to the point where it can cause headaches. Plus, it didn't really seem all that responsive anyway. Because every time it has to redraw something on the screen, it just flickers like a madman, and you know. And putting back in the GeForce 2 MX didn't really improve anything. The screen was less clear, was kind of blurry really, and you know, scrolling through websites and all that kind of stuff was really bogging down badly, which it didn't really do on the GeForce 3. But like I said, it it flickers like a madman, and it's really annoying. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it now. I might actually take the offer from my girlfriend to actually use her Radeon 9000 to see if that's any better. But you know, so far I'm pretty disappointed that I couldn't get it to work properly. But oh well. I guess I'll have to make more videos on this thing. And I'll keep you guys updated if I get it fixed at some point. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you all for watching.